Okay, back again. Try number 2, UFC 167. What a show it was. Lots to talk about. Going to have to do it very quickly because I don't actually have more than 15 minutes to do it in. So I'm going to have my phone in my hand and every minute look. So cutting straight to it, good to see Donald Cerrone win. I've always thought he's got a lot of potential, but doesn't do the right thing strategy-wise, mix things up, or things for himself physically to always win. But if he can do that and stay consistent, I can see him becoming a contender at 155 again. Good to see Eric Perez winning. Good to see Rick Story winning. Go straight to the main card. And the first fight that I want to talk about was Tyron Woodley and Josh Koscheck. What did I think of that fight? I thought when that fight was announced that it was going to be, wasn't too sure, kind of be like more of a hug fest. I don't know who, more of a wrestling match kind of thing, and no disrespect to wrestling. But on the other hand, Woodley has kind of become more confident. He's escaped from being just a one-dimensional wrestler now. Now he's experimenting with other things like striking and grappling, other grappling elements into his game. He's not so tentative, with his punches anymore. He's a bit more aggressive, and it showed in this fight because he counters Koscheck, bang, hits him again, bang, knocks him flat out on the ground. Koscheck is out. Woodley gets his second KO of the year, which to me is amazing because he was never really a finisher of a fighter, but I have noticed ever since the Nate Marquardt loss 2 years ago, or a year ago actually, he's become a lot more confident as a fighter, and it's like that loss has done the best for him because he's become so much more confident, a lot more aggressive, a little bit more willing to experiment other things. And I think if he continues to progress at this rate, he could be someone that cracks into the top 5 quite easily. Chael Sonnen and Rashad Evans, pretty much I think everyone thought Chael would win based on how Rashad has looked in the last few fights, but on paper, when you look at the very best, Rashad is the better fighter, and it was proven there. Rashad was quicker, stronger, able to control him. Chael really struggled, and Chael did say, this is probably the hardest style of a matchup for me. And Rashad looked really, really good there, and it's good to see him starting to get that fire back and that hunger back. I always felt that Greg Jackson split, that John Jones fight, took a lot out of him, and I think it started to show after a while you saw its effects on him. And I think after he lost, we kind of didn't know where he was anymore. He was just kind of there. And, the Nogueira fight, he was just playing pat cake with Nogueira's hands. And the Henderson fight is, again, he just didn't, that extra bit of fire wasn't there. So we go from Rashad and Chael to the next fight, Lawler and McDonald. What did I think? McDonald had a lot of hype and has had a lot of hype behind him for the last few years. People calling him the next George St-Pierre, people calling him the John Jones of welterweight. And to be fair, he is very skilled and very talented and has a lot of potential. However, the one thing that I will say is that I still don't think he's a completely proven fighter yet. And granted, I just done a video talking about him and St-Pierre possibly fighting. I think this fight and the Ellenberger fight have shown that he still has a ways to go. And it was great to see Lawler come out and beat him. I've always liked him. I liked him back in his early UFC days when he was built as the future of the division with Parisian, St-Pierre, Koscheck, Sanchez, all those guys that came up from The Ultimate Fighter, Nick Diaz, all of those guys. I think that the Nick Diaz loss, and then when he left, he kind of was up and down, and then he went up to middleweight and he looked like a bit of a killer there. But his consistency's always been, hit or miss. And I think the same thing with Vitor Belfort applies to him. When you get the very best Robbie Lawler, he's destroying guys, or he's just beating guys, and he looks motivated and he looks fired up. Going back to 170, he's been on a roll. He's had a career revival. 2 knockouts this year and a win over a very highly touted and highly hyped prospect over Rory McDonald. I think that warrants a very big fight for him. Now, does he face the winner of the main event? I'm not too sure. Or does he face the winner of Condit Brown? I think that might be the best possible option for him. Now we talk about the title fight. Now, a lot of people had different theories. A lot of people said that this would be a lot like St-Pierre Koscheck number 2, Hughes and St-Pierre, that same kind of fight. It was nothing at all like any of those fights. For the first time in a long time, George St-Pierre looked very, very vulnerable. And I know he showed a bit of vulnerability against Condit, but that was a head kick and he recovered from it. For an entire fight, he had St-Pierre in danger a lot of the time. In the first round, he had good control of him. The second round, he hit him and St-Pierre stumbled a bit, and then Hendricks was coming forward and hitting him some more. And I was like, oh my God, Hendricks is really impressing me because he's not just relying on the overhand right. he's actually mixing up his strikes, cross jabs, straight punches, knees, kicks, pushing the action, up by the fence, hitting him, knees. He's really working, and I'm like, oh my god, he's actually winning the fight. And a lot of what St-Pierre is doing isn't working in the same way. And I think rounds 1 and 2, obviously I'd give them to Hendricks. I think that St-Pierre came alive in round 3 and was doing a lot more in round 3. However, I felt that by rounds 4 and 5, by the time he got to round 5, my thought was St-Pierre needs to do something. Like, he has to finish the fight now if he wants to win. So in my opinion, Hendricks is winning the fight. Hendricks hit him with a vicious knee at one point. I was like, fuck. St-Pierre took that like a champ because he got blasted. I'm not sure, I think it was round 3, but it was a knee and he hit him and St-Pierre went back a bit. And I'm like, St-Pierre took a lot of shots, so a lot of people are saying that St-Pierre is easy to get knocked out. He got hit with a lot of punches and he still kept fighting. And I think that shows the heart that he has. And it was an entertaining George St-Pierre fight for me because it's the first time I've seen St-Pierre look like he was in trouble. And I think that what happened was with... It depends how you scored it, but I honestly thought Hendricks won the fight. I think that Dana White felt Hendricks won the fight. I think the majority of the fans felt Hendricks won the fight. I think a lot of people felt Hendricks won the fight. And in my opinion, what probably mixed it up was that they looked at the fight metric system, and obviously St-Pierre got a lot more strikes and point fighted. But if you're basing it on who was in danger more than the other, I felt that St-Pierre was in a lot of danger in that fight. I think that the punches and the knees that Hendricks hit him with were vicious. Hendricks even got him down, which was very impressive, and St-Pierre was struggling. He did get him down eventually, but he struggled to get him down. And I felt that Hendricks won, and I felt this is the first time now in a long time where we have finally seen a fighter that looks like he can match St-Pierre. And we thought that Diaz would be that guy. We thought that BJ Penn in the rematch would be that guy. People thought that, fuck it. There's names upon names that people felt would be that guy. And now we've finally seen it in Johnny Hendricks, who looked amazing. And I was very impressed with the fact that he mixed up his strikes and didn't rely on the overhand right. He was showing a little more versatility. I felt he won. And then when they said, and still, I was just like, oh my God, highway robbery. Reminded me a lot of the time when... when we had Shogun and Machida, I got that same kind of feeling. And then St-Pierre kind of announced that he's going to be away for a while. It was a bit vague, so no one knew if this was a retirement or what. But he did announce he'd be away for a while, and I think people took it as a retirement because there was a lot of talk about it prior to that. And then Dana White went a bit nuts afterwards in the press conference on St-Pierre, which I felt was a bit unnecessary. I mean, if it was about the decision, yeah, I would be, because I felt that that was not... the guy, I think the wrong guy won that night, in my opinion. But on the other hand, if St-Pierre needs to take his time off because he's got things going on in his personal life, you can't really get mad at him. Because if he needs that time, or he needs to take some time away to sort things out, he's going to need it. I mean, you've got to do what's best for him. And George has made that company a lot of money. Regardless if you haven't liked his style of fight since 2007, he has done a lot for the company. He's done everything they've asked him for. And the one thing he needs is some time off. And if he needs that time, you've got to give it to him. Don't, fucking slam him in the media. And I felt that that was a bit nasty from Dana. But if he was mad about the decision, that's totally understandable. But the other aspect of it, I thought that was ridiculous. What do I think should happen, and what do I feel will happen? I think St-Pierre will fight again. We don't know the nature of what it is. Perhaps it's so personal he doesn't really want it out there. But I mean, I wish him well with whatever it is, and I've got a lot of respect for St-Pierre, one of my favourite fighters. Granted, I didn't like his style change towards the end, but I've always had a lot of respect for him. I've always been impressed by his heart. I've always been impressed with the way he's able to come back and how honest he is about how he's feeling. I've always respected him for that. I think he may fight again eventually, and I think if he does, obviously you've got to do him and Hendricks. What do I think about Hendricks? I think that Hendricks is the uncrowned UFC welterweight champion, and that's my opinion. Who does he fight next? Maybe Robbie Lawler, maybe the winner of Condit Brown, or does he wait for St-Pierre? He might be waiting for at least a year, we don't know, but it seems like St-Pierre probably will be fighting again. He just needs time off. I'm going to stop. You let me know what you think. You let me know what you feel. What fights did you enjoy? Did you think that Hendricks was robbed? Does anyone actually think that St-Pierre won that fight? Because I honestly want to know what they saw and why they felt he won the fight. If you felt he won, please let me know. Write some comments. If you felt Hendricks was robbed, please let me know. Please write some comments. If you think that there should be a rematch, please let me know. Write some comments. If you think there will be an interim title, anything to do with tonight's card, write it here. I do videos on MMA and pro wrestling and comic books now. So guys, take care, peace, love you all, and I have got to run because I've got like 15 minutes. Bye.